All right, today's video is chapter 6, lesson 2B and 2D. We're going to solve some more equations. Our last video, we learned how to solve these kind of equations. We said that we were going to do whatever the opposite operation was. So right here we were going to subtract 4, and we had to make sure we did it on both sides to keep the math balance level. We crossed these out, and we said x is equal to 4. If it had a subtraction sign, we do the opposite of subtracting. So now we're going to add, and we're adding 2 to both sides. That turns into a 0, that turns into a 9. X is equal to 9. Well, here's what the new equations are going to look like. 6x equals 18. I want to get this 6 gone. Right now they're smushed together. What does smushing mean? Well, I hope you typed in multiply, because smushing means multiply. The 6 and the x are being multiplied. So here's where I want you to make a prediction. I haven't told you this answer yet, but make a prediction. What do you think is the opposite of multiply? The opposite of smushing? That's right. Dividing. The opposite of smushing is to divide. Now, we have ways of showing division. We have this little symbol. We've got the house, but we're not going to use those. We're going to use a fraction bar. And so we're going to make that fraction bar, he says divide, and then we're going to put a 6 underneath of that. Divide by 6, divide by 6, cross out what's my answer. The answer is going to be whatever 18 divided by 6 is. The answer would be 3. X equals 3. Now let's talk about these crossing out guys. When I cross out, then I'm really getting 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. But math people don't write the 1. They just leave that 1 off. And they just say, we have 1x, but it's just an x. 1x is an x. So 6 divided by 6 got rid of that 6. It was the opposite. We're undoing the multiplication by doing division. Okay, let's try this one. 3x equals 45. I have some smushing going on. I want to do the opposite of smushing. So I divide by 3. Divide by 3, cross out what's my answer. Now, if you're not sure what 45 divided by 3 is, you can draw the house now, and you can do some scratch work. 3 goes into 45 once. 3 goes into 15 5 times. X equals 15. All right, let's work these out. Divide by 7, cross out what's my answer. X equals 2. Divide by 4, cross out what's my answer. What's 20 divided by 4? That would be 5. Divide by 10, cross out what's my answer. 90 divided by 10 is 9. Now, they won't always be whole numbers. Let's try one of those. Divide by 3, cross out what's my answer. Well, 3 goes into 20 6 times, which is 18, and there's 2 left over. So the answer is 6 2/3. You could draw a decimal and a 0 and bring it down, and you could give me a decimal answer. That's fine. But not everything is a nice, pretty whole number like that. Let's try this one. 5x equals 27. Divide by 5, cross out what's my answer. 5 goes into 27 5 times. 5 times 5 would be 25, so how many's left over? 2. 5 2/5. You want me to show you it worked out? 5 goes into 27 5 times with 2 left over. 5 and 2/5. 5 and 2/5. All right, here's your next question. What is x going to be? If 8x equals 72, what is x? Did you say 9? Divide by 8, divide by 8, cross out what's my answer. 72 divided by 8 is equal to 9. All right, here's the other kind of questions we're going to have. They already start off with division. X divided by 2, x divided by 4, x divided by 7. They already start off division. We have to undo the division. We have to do the opposite of division. We're looking for some number that when I divide by 2, it's going to equal 8. What would the number be that we started with? Well, the opposite of division is multiply. We're going to use a dot because if we use a times sign like as an x, we already have an x and then we put an x here and it's just too many x's and it's all confusing. Notice that that dot is exactly the same height as the line. I know I'm going to be very picky about this and it seems crazy, but just go with me. Follow along. All right, so then I'm going to put a 2 up here. Why do I do that? Because the opposite of division is multiply. But the reason I put it up high is because technically it's 2 over 1. And now this is like having fractions that when we're multiplying, we get to cross cancel. So if you think back to multiplication of fractions, like if you had 2/5 times 1/2, you were allowed to cross out, simplify. You were able to simplify diagonally. Well, that's what we're doing here. The 2's go away. We get to cross them out. Whatever I do to one side of my math equation, I have to do to the other side. So I draw the dot and I write myself a 2. The song sounds like this. Times by 2, times by 2, cross out what's my answer. The answer is whatever this multiplication problem is, 16. Does that make sense? 16 cut in half would equal 8. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do the next one. Times by 4, times by 4, cross out what's my answer. X equals 12. 12 because 3 times 4 is 12. I did a dot and a 4, a dot and a 4. The yellow stuff has to match each other. Whatever I do to left Twix, I have to do to right Twix. Whatever I do to one side of my equation, I do to the other side to keep it balanced. We can't treat one side differently than the other. All right, let's look at the next one. Times by 7, times by 7. Cross out what's my answer. Whatever my answer is whatever 5 times 7 is, which is 35. All right, I've got 3 more here to practice with. So I'm going to do times by 8, times by 8, cross out what's my answer, x equals 40. Times by 10, times by 10, cross out what's my answer, x equals 10. Times by 7, times by 7, cross out what's my answer, x equals 49. Okay, notice that all of this stuff is on one notebook line. This is the only thing that's dangling down. Please, please, please do not try to squish it all into one notebook line. Make it take up 2 lines of notebook paper. X divided by 8, the x on one notebook line, the 8 on the other. Notice that my dot is right here on the blue line, times by 8. This 8, I want it to be on the same notebook line as the x, times by 8. That's on the same notebook line as the 5. And 40 is this answer. 10 is 1 times 10. 49 is 7 times 7. All right, here is a question for you to answer. X divided by 3 is equal to 7. What is x? Well, did you say 21? times by 3 on each side. 7 times 3 is equal to 21. All right, good video.